He said the only reason for being a member of a race is to practice racism. The only reason for practicing racism is to gain so-called benefits by mistreating people based on so-called color classifications of those people. Race is racism, period. Let me repeat that. He said race is racism. And the definition of that is a person who functions as a member of a race is a racist, i.e. a white supremacy. It don't matter if you're functioning as a member of the black race. You are practicing white supremacy because race is a construct that he created for his benefit. Oh, man. Everything I'm about to say, you already know it to be true. You are a slave. You are a slave to money, to social economics, to status, to politics, to ideology. You have sold your soul to have a place in a world order that you should naturally oppose. Whoa now. Welcome back to the Black Elf and your boy, but the Kush. I want to give a shout out to the YouTube channel, man, On the Shoulders of Giants. Now, I'm not endorsing the channel, but I need to give credit where credit due because he turned me on to a brother, a grand elder, great grand elder, actually, that I had never heard of, man, despite my close ties to the so-called pro-black community for a better part of 35 years. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I tell y'all in my videos, these were my friends. These are the kinds of people that I associated with exclusively for a large part of my life. This is why I understand not only their good parts, but their shortcomings, because I know these people intimately. But I had never heard of a one, Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. I never heard of him. Never heard of him. And this man's understanding of society and the way he breaks down what we are seeing, I mean, are almost lockstep with my own. And I had never heard of him till a week ago. And over the last week, I did some reading on him. I pulled him up and I studied him a little bit. And I was like, wow, this is really what Brother Kush is trying to tell y'all. This is really what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to just take the mantle from the great grand elder, and I'm going to continue where he left off at, man, because no need trying to remake the wheel. I'm not saying that I'm going to agree with every single thing that he said, but the meat, the heart of what he's teaching is exactly the heart of what I teach. It's the exact same thing. Now, the reason why I want to separate myself from On the Shoulders of Giants, because I don't believe the brother understands Dr. Fuller completely. You know, that's why his video was talking about marriage and interracial marriage or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, when Dr. Fuller was way beyond that. Way beyond that. You know, he honed in on one piece, you know what I'm saying, and that was it, because, you know, he could try to rationalize that, but nah, it's way beyond that. You know, Dr. Fuller actually said that if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you understand will confuse you. I'm going to say that again. If you don't understand white supremacy, which is actually racism, understand that now. He's not separating white supremacy from racism. And his definition of racism is the same definition that I have of racism. I'm going to get to that later. He said that if you don't understand white supremacy, i.e. racism, what it is and how it works, everything else you understand will confuse you. Because what he is saying is that when you fully understand the system that you live under, because you can't separate this system from racism, from white supremacy. White supremacy is a bit deep, right? You know what I'm saying? That's a bit sketchy. I'm gonna explain that later. But you can't separate the system. It is all the same. They're all parts of one thing, right? So when you are looking through that lens to interpret the world around you, when you're looking through the lens of social economics to interpret the actions of inner city blacks, when you're looking through the lens of capitalism to interpret the doings of black people here or black people there, when you're looking through the lens of the institution of education, and you are belittling or demeaning black people for their lack of education or whatever, you are judging them based upon white supremacy. That's what Dr. Fuller meant. Oh, I understand him. And I'm going to be breaking him down over the next few videos. This is just the introduction. Now, before I get started on this here, man, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to receive notification when I drop more videos. Look, bro, y'all got to get with this. This is it. I hate to tell you. You can either get with it now, man, and help me build it, or you can get steamrolled by me and those that join me later on, because this is it. I am about to take this baton from this great grand elder, and I'm about to run with it. Because he has laid down the foundation already for exactly what I'm trying to tell y'all. None of y'all understand why I don't see race the same way y'all do. None of y'all understand why I do videos talking about I don't belong to black people. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't understand. See, to y'all that sounds weird. But look what Dr. Neely said. He said the only reason for being a member of a race is to practice racism. The only reason for practicing racism is to gain so-called benefits by mistreating people based on so-called color classifications of those people. Race is racism, period. Let me repeat that. He said race is racism. And the definition of that is a person who functions as a member of a race is a racist, i.e. a white supremacy. It don't matter if you're functioning as a member of the black race. You are practicing white supremacy because race is a construct that he created for his benefit. Oh man, Dr. Fuller done gave me a full clip. He done gave me a full clip. I'm telling y'all now, I'm about to spray this house up. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to spray this shit down, bro. The man that gave me a full clip. And I understand exactly what he's saying. And this is why I do videos based on the way I do. I say things that y'all don't understand. This is why my teachings kind of, you know, really and truly, I call everything black this, black that. But I don't call it black alpha because of race. I explained already what black alpha means. It has nothing to do with race. It is a destination, a classification of status, right? It represents the first, right? The original. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the original, the sacred, the esoteric, the teachings of the alpha that nobody wants you to know about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting back to the fundamentals of it. I'm talking about returning to the radicalization of what it means to be an alpha male. This is what I'm talking about. Now, if you don't know what radical actually means, go look it up. If you don't know what fundamental means, because I know they like to say these fundamentalists are certain, or these radicals, you might want to look up radical and fundamentalist before you think that they are bad terms. See, I understand how this devil moves. He wants you to look at things through his lens. He wants, when I say we're going to get back to the fundamentals of being an alpha, he wants you to hear fundamentalism and say, oh man, that's something bad. Because you're looking through the lens of the white supremacy. So what did he say? If you don't understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. That's what Neely meant by that. This is Dr. Neely's book, right? It's a mouthful here. The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept Textbook, a compensatory counter-racist code. Basically, what he's trying to say is that he's organized and simplified society in one book for you so that you can understand what you're looking at as you travel throughout this madness. That's what he said. And you see the price right there? That's actually Amazon's website, so you can do what you do. So what I need you to understand is that your brother Kush has been telling y'all right the whole time. The reason why you don't understand me is because you are looking at the world through a lens based on white supremacy. For instance, you see me do all these videos where I'm just trying to talk to black men about just being their own man, but for some reason, everybody hear that as race trading. I'm selling out. I'm trying to make excuses to tell them go get white girl. I mean, and the crazy thing is most of the time I don't even say nothing close to these things. But the problem is this is what they hear, because when you think as an independent man, you are breaking away from the structures of white supremacy. They don't want you to do that. So what black people do is they're looking at you through that lens without even realizing that they are practicing white supremacy. They're looking at you and they're judging you based on that, because all they know is you are breaking away from the control mechanism of race. We don't want you doing that. And who created the construct of race? White folks. White folks. White supremacy created race. This is not our concept, bro. All we know are people. You act like I need to claim to be a member of a race so I can have an understanding of friends and foes. Like one brother said, we shouldn't side with open enemies. Who said I was? I'm a street dude, bro. I recognize an enemy. I recognize an enemy. I recognize an enemy by the relationship that we have. And the definition of relationship is how two or more people, groups or whatever, talk to, behave towards, and deal with each other. I know an enemy, but what the definition doesn't say is race. The definition calls for you to look at how you actually interact with each other. Is somebody unfriendly towards you? Are they confrontational towards you? Are they passive aggressive towards you? Or openly aggressive towards you? I recognize an enemy, but an enemy is not based on race. But if you're going to look at friends and foes based simply off of race, now you are falling within the confines, the control mechanisms of white supremacy without even knowing it. So when I did the video talking about Dr. Umar Johnson and his views on interracial marriages, how it don't make sense, all y'all heard was I'm trying to tell people to go get white girls, and I never even said that. Never said it. I said that what he's saying don't make sense, and it don't. In fact, before I came across the great grand elder here, I actually said in a video that I did a video where I said that blackism, that blackness, pro-blackness is just a branch of white supremacy. I said that already. Because that's exactly what it is. It doesn't matter if you're being pro-Asian, you're being pro-Middle Eastern. It is all branches of white supremacy, because this type of hatred based solely on skin color classifications is a creation of white supremacy. Got nothing to do with recognizing friends and foes. See, that's a smokescreen. You can't play with me like that. I don't side with open enemies. I don't play with enemies. But you ain't my friend just because you claim to be black. I know that much too. Like I told that brother in my comment section that said that, man, and I ain't got nothing personal against sisters, but it is what it is. I said, you cannot tell me that you could take the general relationship that we have with black women and call that friendly. Forget about who you want to blame right now. You can't tell me that you can look at the general fundamental dealings of black and blacks, period. Black men and black women, black women and black women, black men and black men, it don't matter. You can't tell me that you can look at that and call that friendly. Our dealings are highly confrontational. We separate among groups, and we hate everybody outside that group, and we don't really like most of the people within the group. And we all black. Asians are the same way. Yeah, they might all hate us, but they don't even talk to each other. Don't even speak to each other. Oh, y'all talk about how Mexicans got all this unity. No, they don't. Mexicans can't stand each other. California Mexicans hate Texas Mexicans, and East Coast Mexicans hate. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Mexicans hate these Mexicans. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, they seem unified in their disdain for blacks and the way they kiss the asses of whites, because that's the master. That's who created all of this hatred based on so-called skin classifications. And we around here talking about black and brown, this and black and brown, and I get tired of telling y'all, man, I have a black hat on. I am not black. We are the brown people. In fact, we are more brown than the people y'all call brown. Most of them are milky looking. We are the brown people. But we call ourselves black, and none of us are black. And we call them brown, and none of them are brown. Or shall I say hardly any. Right? Let me say it like that, because we do have some black motherfuckers, right? So we call ourselves black in general, though only few of us are actually black. And we call them brown in general, though a few of them are actually brown. We are the brown people, but we are looking at colorism, color classifications through the lens of white supremacy. So like Neely said, bro, like the great grand elder said, look, if you don't understand what white supremacy is and how it really works, then everything else you understand will only confuse you. You are confused because you don't understand that you are practicing racism. You are practicing white supremacy. He said that also. I don't have that quote up here though. He said that, you know, that there's only two realities, right? Two statuses, right? You're either practicing white supremacy and racism, or you're constantly reacting to it. Now, think about what he said. You are either practicing it or reacting to it. How many dudes have come on my channel and called me agents for saying nothing? Call me coons for saying nothing. These are all practices of racism, people. The Dr. Umar Johnson of the world, you know, they want you to believe that something is wrong with Brother Kush because my wife is from another country. That means I don't know what it means. You know, but something is wrong with me. That's practicing racism, because why is he trying to keep me inside of a box? I understand that the system that we live under operates like this. But part of the reason why it's successful in operating like that is because we participate in it. If we break off, that, listen, I'm not saying that you're supposed to see them as your friend. I'm telling you that we need to break off from these boxes. And if you realize that we are your actual people, we are the people that you need to deal with because of our likes and similarities and all that, then you form a community based on that. But you can't form a community based solely on race, because that does not work. It doesn't work. Too many black people right now in the black community, man, hate being there. Say for instance, I knew this chick, real story. Chick that was ghetto fabulous, got a Section 8 voucher, man, and she was able to move to the suburb area, right? Better area. Oh man, all of a sudden she turned bougie. You can't tell me that environment doesn't affect the way we are. Yeah, you got some cats that bring that trifling stuff with them no matter where they go. And to some degree, I guess we all bring where we from with us to some degree, right? But you can't tell me environment is not a factor. Because I've seen them. I've seen dudes that did nothing. Lazy suckers, man, get them a job, you know, able to move outside the hood. Now these niggas jogging and shit. Now they walking and shit. They walking through the neighborhood and jogging through the neighborhood. Because this is what white folks do. They ain't doing it to try to stay fit. They doing it because that's what crackers do. That's why they doing it. If they was in the hood, they wouldn't be doing it. If they was in the ghetto, they wouldn't be at a park or running around the streets jogging. They wouldn't be doing it there. But they get outside the hood and they change. I've seen it. So this is a problem, is that we don't want to be the best versions of ourselves if we gotta be around black people. To us, that's the bottom of the barrel. This is how we actually think. And we need to acknowledge this and admit this. That being around our own, to us, is the bottom of the barrel. We don't like being there, right? Being around other so-called black people, that mean you're done. We don't like that. So we measure ourselves by how much we are liked or liked by white folks. I'm gonna say it again. We measure ourselves by how much we are like, meaning philosophically, meaning so-called culturally, educations, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. How much we are like or liked by white folks. That's how we measure ourselves. You ever seen these old niggas, man, get around white folks and all of a sudden they whole demeanor change, the way they talk change, their attitudes change. Suddenly, you know what I'm saying, black people can't do no right. They start dumping on their own people. See, you'll never get that out of me, but I'm the coon. I ain't acting like that around white folks. I don't shuck it. See, y'all gonna understand, I'm a gangster, bro. Let me just cut through this shit and just tell you what it is. I'm a gangster. Gangsters don't shuck and jive for no damn body, bro, regardless of race. Man, we don't scratch, we don't itch, we don't bend when we ain't hurting, you know what I'm saying? We ain't doing it. It's just not how we move. So I ain't about to sit there and be shucking and jiving for no crackers, man, because that's not the kind of person I am. I ain't shucking and jiving for no niggas either. It's not the kind of person that I am. But man, I've seen these dudes, and especially black women, get around white folks, man, and just talk horrible about us. This is why I don't have no white friends. Because I'm not going to sit around and let them come with their versions of social economics and tell me about how bad black folks do this and how wrong. See, I ain't playing that shit, bro. I ain't playing that, bro. But I'm the coon. But you know what makes me a coon in y'all eyes? Y'all are judging me through the lens of white supremacy. Y'all practicing white supremacy. And the goal of white supremacy is to keep everybody in certain controllable boxes. That's it. And men like me are trying to break free of all boxes. And white supremacy don't like that. Therefore, black people that practice white supremacy unconsciously don't like that. Y'all still ain't explain how my German wife is a bad thing for black people. Y'all still ain't explain it to me. Y'all still ain't explain how me not wanting to work or something like that is something bad for black people. Y'all still haven't explained how any damn thing I do hurt you. You still haven't explained it. Because you can't. No, me freeing up my mind breaks myself away from the system. And y'all are all agents of this system. And the system itself is built upon white supremacy a la racism. That's the problem. So y'all are all practicing racism. And when y'all attack me, y'all are really making me defend myself against racism, against white supremacy. I told y'all in early videos that we don't realize it, that the reason why we have so much disdain for each other is because we have the mindset of whites. And I was explaining to y'all the main problem with conservative blacks. The reason why I don't want them niggas around me at all. Yeah, y'all can say what y'all want about liberal blacks. But I don't want conservative Negroes around me at all because I know what your mind is. When y'all look at those two brothers, them twin brothers, the Hodge brothers, right? They had their channel back in the days. Now they're the Patriot Twins. And now all they do is make videos dumping on black people. Look at all these conservative YouTube channels. All they do is dump on black people. Jesse Lee Peterson's, Tony Sotomayor's. All they do is dump on black people. You know what I'm saying? Anton Daniels. You know, all they do is dump on black people. Come on, man. Conservatism is a main branch of white supremacy. There's no way for a black man to be conservative and not have an issue with his own people. Impossible. Impossible. The deeper you are into conservatism, the more you're gonna not like black people. Because you're gonna look at us and see everything wrong. But you're gonna ignore everything white folks do. And they do a whole lot. all you're going to know is everything we do is so wrong. So what Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. is saying is 100% correct. The only reason why you wants to be a member of a race is to practice racism. That's it. And all racisms are created by white supremacy. So it doesn't matter if you calling it black pride. It's still white supremacy. It don't matter if you call it pro-blackness. It's still white supremacy. See, like for instance, you know, they trying to take our history and all that stuff. I sit back and laugh at it. I'm like, man, look, who cares? Who cares, man? The Holy Quran said, man, if your God be the real God, then tell him recreate and do it again. If they the real original people, they should be able to restructure and rebuild everything again. They can't, because it is not them. And you so busy arguing with them, trying to live vicariously through the past instead of tapping into your God-given self. The I self am Lord and Master. Instead of you tapping into what's in here and re-establishing and recreating first a community, a neighborhood, then a civilization from scratch like we can do. No, you sitting here worrying about what somebody did 8,000 years ago. Let them people claim it, they want to claim it. You don't have to teach your children that what they say is true. So what you arguing them about? Dr. Umar wanted to start a school to do what? To teach their curriculum, because you got to teach their curriculum. Your school will not be accredited if you don't teach what they tell you to teach. This is how they have it structured. School is mandatory, and the curriculum of the schools have to be approved, which means you still have to teach what they tell you to teach. So it don't matter if the school is a black-owned school, black-created school, this and that. It don't matter. It's still a school under the umbrella of white supremacy. If you don't understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else you understand will only confuse you. And this is why I'm not confused, because I understand what it is that I'm seeing. This is only a taste. You know what I'm saying? This is only a taste. I'm going to stop there. I can keep going on and on and on with that. You know what I'm saying? In fact, one more shot at the book. This is Dr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s book. The great-grand elder Neely Fuller Jr. You see his book right here, The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept Textbook, a compensatory counter-racist code. So I'm telling y'all, this is worth reading. You know what I'm saying? This is worth reading. And then I'm going to give you the page number where he start really breaking down the codes, but the whole book is worth reading. You know what I'm saying? So if you get it, go ahead and check it out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to stop there, man, because this is only a taste. I have a foundation now. See, now what I have is somebody that came before me. Although he didn't write this that long ago. You know, he wrote this, I think 2016 or something like that. 2016, 2010. So, I mean, the man was like 80-some years old when he wrote this, you know what I'm saying? Because he's right now, I think he's almost in his 90s. So, I mean, probably in his 70s or 80s when he wrote this. But he didn't come up with this that long ago. So, really and truly, we probably reached this understanding about the same time. But he laid the foundation in which now I can stand on. And I'm going to do this right. I'm not going to mess it up like the other brother. Again, I'm not knocking the brother, because he turned me on to something that I can use, and I thank him for that. But he don't understand Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. He don't understand the great grand elder. He don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because he still look at things through the concept of race. I'm trying to break off from the concept of race. I don't need to claim a race to understand who my friends are, who my foes are, who my allies are, who my people are. I'm going to judge all that based off of our relationships. That's what I'm base it off. That's what I'm going to base it off. And that's what you should base it off. So this is the first take of many to come on this topic. I'm gonna rip it up, man. You know what I'm saying? He got some very, very good stuff in there, and I'm gonna break it all down for y'all. So this is about to become a very interesting journey. So if you have not subscribed, I'm telling you now, subscribe and hit that bell icon. because this journey is just beginning. Until next time, I'm out of here. I'm Brother Kush, aka the Black Alpha. Salam.